Welcome to Man Up. Our guest today will be Mark Frailey with Go Reentry.
Man Up is a series that challenges men to become strong, unique, discipled followers of Jesus. Hosts Troy Ferguson, Sean Tice, Victor Thomas, and today's guest host is Mark Frailey. Welcome to Man Up.
Welcome back to Man Up. You know, I was thinking the other day and wanted to share a true story with you about a father's daughter out in the Midwest. He's a farmer, and his daughter had studied during her junior year and planned on coming East Coast. So her senior year, she got all her grades up, and she actually got a scholarship to go to a college in New York. And the father, he knew how dangerous the city would be. He didn't push back against it. Instead, he embraced it. He went out and bought one of those stun guns for her, gave her the directions, and encouraged her, read this. Time came, she went off to New York, and sure enough, just as the father had thought, she inquired, she ran into a mugger. The mugger got her in the alley, and thank God she wasn't hurt too badly. She lived to tell the story. And that brought up a thought in my mind, especially with the school getting ready to start up here in Blair County. There's a lot of people who are targeting our young children. And we all have to take a hand in protecting these children. If you see something out of the way, if you're driving and you see something that looks suspicious, call the police, let them investigate. We look at all the human trafficking and all the things that are going on with the exploitation, sex trafficking, and things that are happening to the young kids in this area. And believe me, it's going on in this area as well. So I want to implore upon you and press upon you. If you see anything that's out of the way, something that doesn't look right, peculiar, take time to pick up the phone, call the police, let them investigate. I tell you, the targeting of our young children nowadays is at an all-time high, where kids are not safe to go to school by themselves, to walk from one block to another. We all have to take a hand in this. We all have to man up, as this TV show says. Man up, be held accountable, and be responsible for protecting the youth in our area. Stay tuned for this episode of Man Up.
Mouth-watering family recipes, easy-to-make meals, humor and faith fill the inspiring show Dano on the Counter. Born with only half a spine, Dan Burkhart was never supposed to hold his head up. Despite countless surgeries, a stroke, leg amputations, and kidney transplants, Dano developed a contagious love for life. Join Dano on the Counter as he shares his easy-to-make dishes and a hope that keeps him pushing forward. Dano on the Counter, Sundays at 7:30 a.m. on CBS.
Welcome back to Man Up. Mark, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got your start with Go Reentry?
About me, I think the important thing is to mention I love Jesus. Feel called to
Amen.
do Go Reentry, and we'll talk about that. I'm married. Between the two of us, we have 6 children, 5 girls and a boy, and 7 grandchildren. So those are the important things to say. Go Reentry started in 2020. I had a passion to do prison ministry for about 21 years. And about 6 years ago, I was in bed, and there wasn't lightning or a verbal voice, but I sat straight up in bed, and it was clear that God was saying, if you don't do this now, you're not ever going to do it. And I realized that I wasn't getting any younger, and age was, so I had to do it. And so,
Sure.
2020, we got together a board and we incorporated. We're a 501c3, and Go Reentry is a faith-based prison ministry.
Yeah, but Mark, this is such a needed ministry to help people. I mean, can you give us some examples of people you've come in contact with?
So we've helped people from federal prison, state prison, from county prisons. We get referrals from churches, from family members, but most of our contacts come from going in, and I wrote a class called Reentry Strategies, and so we go in weekly and teach a class. It's a 6-week class, hour and a half each week, and so that's really where I get to know. That's really where I get the first contact with people that we help.
Mark, I checked on your website. You listed over 95% of incarcerated people will be released back into our communities. What are their biggest hurdles?
So I've learned in doing this for the last 5 years that everybody's hurdle's different. There are some real basic things. Sobriety. Most of the people that are incarcerated have an issue with drugs or alcohol. That's what led them there. Most, not all. Housing. Try to get an apartment if you have a criminal record. Employment. Employment now seems easier since COVID because nobody else wants to work, but giving an inmate a chance to work, they're anxious and they do good work. So, so that just needing support. Most of the people we help don't have a driver's license. And so the court says, and rightfully so, you have to show up your probation officer every week, or you have to go to AA meetings or NA meetings, or you have to work. But if you don't have a driver's license, how are you supposed to get to court? How are you supposed to get all those things? And if you don't go, you go back to jail. So we support people. Last year we drove 29,000 miles, taking people to and from work, to and from the grocery store, to church, to probation. So we help people, support them with clothes and medicine, and however we can support them, we support them. And so that's like another big hurdle. Having somebody to keep you accountable. I get to know people, and we joked last night in the class. I said, I want your Facebook because I want to stalk you, and I want to see what you're doing, and I'm going to call you. Like, I'm going to see something, and I'm going to say, is that the smartest thing to do? We drug test people. A lot of people that we help.
Now, let me ask you, what does that do? What if you drug test them and they come up positive? What does that mean with your assistance of them? What does that do?
So we drug test people. We have a sober living house. And so we drug test those women every week. And if they fail a drug test, they have a choice. They can just walk away, or they can go to rehab. And if they successfully complete rehab, they can come back to where we are. So,
okay. So that's where the drug testing comes in because of the home.
So, and some guys, they get out, they're not in the house, but if they want a job, an employer says, well, I'm worried about hiring them because they have a history of drug abuse. And so I'll tell the employer, let me drug test them every week.
Okay. So you're taking the accountability factor on behalf of the workplace.
Right, yeah, or same thing with a landlord. I'm worried about them doing drugs or drinking. So, okay, give them an apartment, put it in the lease. If they fail a drug test, they have to leave. So just a way of keeping people accountable. And I think that helps both the person that we're talking about and also like the landlord and the employer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I think most of the people, though, leaving jail lack hope. It's the most depressing place you'd want to be. So you go into jail and they take away your name and they give you a number. They take away your identity, like all the things you were before. All of a sudden, it feels like you aren't any of those things. And you're told when to go to bed, when to wake up, when to eat, what you're going to eat. You can't call your loved ones when you want. You can't call. It's just like a helpless place to be. And I think that it's just hopeless then. You walk in, a lot of guys are without any clear path forward. They no light at the end of the tunnel. And so that's part of one of the things we want to do too. We want to give them some hope.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
definitely. Hope is good. And, with Christianity and your ministry efforts, I applaud you for that. And I want to speak from an experiential because I'd spent time in prison. And the prisons now are helping those before they leave. They're helping people get the driver's license, helping people get those credentials. And preparation plays a huge part in those things, those variables, to coming back to society. And do you find a lot of assistance with the prisons in this venture with getting them prepared to come back into society?
So yes and no. I'm on some state boards, the Pennsylvania Reentry Council. I'm one of the leaders. And so I think we're doing a lot of good things in state prisons. Mm-hmm. They are helping with IDs, and they do have whole blocks dedicated to people going home, and they have special reentry teams. They have a lot. They're throwing a lot of money at it, and that's good. But if you come to a county jail, they're not doing it. There's a huge disconnect.
Yeah.
And so We do some work, and we have helped people in state prison, but most of our work is with county.
With the county prisons.
People, yeah.
And you're right about that. The funding is not always there. And honestly, because I still go into the Blair County Prison to minister to men, and it seems like those who know they're going home on a short time span, they're not as apt to learn and change their ways as those who may be in state prison. And they just don't put forth the effort, and they come back to society the same way they left.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Maybe be the first place to announce it. Last night was our first night in Blair County Prison. They called and asked us to go in. It was exciting because there were 17 guys there who were all eager and anxious and excited to go on this journey with us for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Just thinking about who they were. There were 3 18-year-olds, and there were 2 guys in there that were 64 years old. The 3 18-year-olds, that was their first time being there. One of the other guys, he'd been in 42 times.
Oh my.
And so you just look at that, and then you ask, do you have a support network when you go home? Over half said, no, I don't have anybody. I don't have anything. Do you have a place to live? Not really. One guy said, yeah, I have a place to live, but when he starts to tell you about the circumstances, he shouldn't go anywhere around that place, or he's going to be right back where he came from, so in the jail. So, yeah, there's a lot of need locally for what we do.
Mark, what are some of your greatest challenges in this ministry effort?
It's not, I don't know how to say this and use the right words. So it's easy. I support a mission who, from our church, the guy goes to India and he rescues girls that are being trafficked. We can get excited about that. That's something we all can jump on board with. Or there's another mission that we celebrate. They're drilling wells in Africa and they're building church. So we can get excited about that. It's hard to get excited about a man or a woman who's in jail. It's just hard. People just don't, they don't have the connection.
Mm-hmm.
I too went to jail, right, 21 years ago. And my dad, leader in the church, he was my dad. His statement to me was I wish you would have died. I don't want nothing to do with you. It's just like that. It's that push you aside. And it's easy for us to do because of labels, because of those things.
We're going to get into that a little bit in the second portion. We have to pay the bills. Can you stick with us, and we'll delve into that a little bit when we come back?
Sure.
Stick with us. We'll be right back in a few moments.
This segment is brought to you by Harry's Construction, whose motto is, if you can dream it, we can create it. They are the kitchen and bath design experts, so call Harry's Construction for all your remodeling needs.
Welcome back. We actually have a video that shows some of the services provided by Go Reentry. Watch this.
I go out into the yard and I look out at the fence and I see the cars. I was up at Rockview and I can see the cars and I'm like, man, one day I'm going to be in one of them cars. And I did 13 years, so that's a long time to be looking out the fence and looking at the cars. I used to daydream about my freedom. Every single day was torment for me, every single day. But God kept me going every single day. God was getting me through. And I did my best to serve Him and be used by Him to help other men when I was in prison. But in those quiet moments, I was looking through that fence, and my hope was the fence. And I met a lot of guys that their hope was the fence. That's as far as their hope went. Their hope was the fence. The problem is that once you get on the other side of the fence, what are you going to do?
Most of them come out with nothing. They don't have any money because you're not given, it's not like you're given $30 when you leave jail and said, good luck, here you go. You're given whatever you came in with. And you have to have all these requirements met on your eligibility letter, right, from the state. And a lot of them include something with probation. You have to do so much time in counseling. You have to have drug and alcohol stuff done. You have to have all these completions of things. And for you to have that done, you need to drive to do all those things. And if you don't have a driver's license, you can't drive. So you have to depend on other people. My name is Justine. I work for Go Reentry as a caseworker / CRS, which is Certified Recovery Specialist. I work for the sober living side, and I love it. Being somebody that left jail, being somebody who lives in recovery, I know that there isn't much support out there when you come out. You're kind of just thrown out into it, and it's really hard to get footing on where to start and what to do. And Go Reentry provides that in so many different ways. Like, these are hard things, and when you come out of prison or rehab, you're not equipped. You're just thrown out there. Figure it out. Making it to probation, you don't make it to probation, you're going back to jail. So that's what I feel Go Reentry offers. It offers a support to people who really don't have one. You know, when I got out, I was really blessed because I had a really strong support group. I had my parents, I had other family members, I had friends who supported me and loved me and wanted me to succeed. But so many people, especially people that I met while I was on the inside, didn't have that.
For me, in my experience, I mean, I grew up with addict parents. Both my mom's still in active addiction, and so is my dad. And I'm the youngest out of 6 kids, and we're all addicts. You know, so we only knew this lifestyle. I mean, without Mark and, you know, this program, I wouldn't even be where I'm at. You know, I probably would be dead. I mean, for me, coming from the background that I came from, that's all I knew, you know, and I mean, today I have confidence in myself. Today, you know, like, I help people, and, you know, I give back in a way that I never would expect. And it's more than what a lot of people think, you know, because it's like, this is our lives. And, you know, like, when we're in a rut, you know, when we gave up on ourselves, you know, who else really is there, you know, like, and it's like, when you have someone else there and that believes in you, that doesn't really know you, you know, like, it hits different. You know, like I said, Mark didn't know me from Adam, and, you know, like, and today I'm a different person. You know, today I'm involved in my nieces and nephews' lives. Like, I gave myself, you know, a home and a peaceful environment that I never even knew that I would have. And a lot of people just look at us different and shut us off because, you know, we came from, you know, different backgrounds, and it's like, it's just nice to have someone that, you know, people that just are there and believe in you and really do believe in you. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I know I have people in my corner, like, and in a positive way. Yeah, Go Reentry just gave me another chance at life. I mean, I have my own apartment now. I have 2 jobs. I do home health care, and I clean M&T Bank. And I got a great support system. I mean, Mark's more like a dad to me than anything.
My name's Nick. As he said, I own Inside Out Cookie, which is set up back there. I started that company about 3 years ago, just a little more than 3 years ago. Since I started, the revenue's up 700%. I've got 5 full-time, 6 part-time employees. Sold about 85,000 of those cookies last year. And I learned how to bake in federal prison. I've been told that my story is an example of the system working, which I aggressively disagree with. Because if the system was so great, why aren't there more stories like mine? Why doesn't everyone getting out of prison have a story like mine? What I had that other people don't was a very strong support system, a network of, you know, family members, friends that helped me get on my feet. And it is paramount for people getting out to have that because it's so unbelievably easy to fall back into old ways. I'm in recovery myself, 11 years in January. And I hope that what I'm doing is an example to others that it is possible to do that, but without help, without other people, stepping in and being a little bit of a foundation for others to stand on, it's kind of tough for other people. So I hope that everybody can help support what Mark is doing and what this organization is doing, and I appreciate you letting me speak and enjoy the cookies.
We can be more, right? We've been broken, we've been hurt. Anybody who has a past, even close to what I have high expectations for myself. I want to be better than just the average person. I want more, because I've seen how bad and how dark it can get. And so, yeah, but I strive for excellence. That's what I want. I want my life to be amazing.
That's awesome. Great.
So I think that everybody else should be amazing too, because you have potential.
Welcome back. Mark, again, before we went to the first break, we started talking about some stereotypes. Let me break this question down. I want to get it right. The need to address and may not want to admit how fear, stereotypes, and prejudice impact the ability to help former prisoners come back to society. Now, you were speaking on that a little bit. Did you want to further that conversation that we were having?
I think the problem goes to not understanding who they are. Graham Spanier, the president of Penn State, spent time in jail, wanted to talk. And we talked for about 2 hours, and he said something that I'll never forget. He said, I drove by the jail all the time, but I never realized the humanness of the guys that were there. He said, their dad's there. Mm-hmm. And there are husbands there and sons there. And he looked at me like he was shocked. It really never dawned on him that they were real people with real issues, with real struggles, right? So I think breaking the stereotypes is understanding really who the people are. Mm. And so that's something we like to do at Go Reentry. So last Sunday we spoke at a church. And before I shared the message on prison ministry, I brought 2 people with me, and they were able to share their stories. Like they were able to tell people who they were and what led them to where they're at now. And mm-hmm. So I think until people understand and hear stories like that, until people do that, it's going to be hard. There are going to be those stereotypes. And
sure.
Yeah.
Let me open this up for a group discussion here, because I talked about my incarceration and you mentioned yours as well. But you guys, have you heard other people talk about people coming out of prison and what their perspective may have been? Sean, have you heard anybody and how they label or what they might speak on inmates coming out to society? Yeah,
in our ministry, we deal with like fatherless kids and stuff like that. So we've had people come to us at churches I've spoken at. They'll say I was in prison, and they equate it with growing up without a dad. Mm-hmm. And so they had challenges from that already, but now they're trying to go back into society. And I've also spoken in youth detention centers, and just seeing the challenges they face, even in there, and just seeing how closed up they are. Honestly, until you share your story with them and show them that you kind of relate, with the way they grew up. But I think reentry is definitely challenging for most individuals to be able to overcome the obstacles you're facing. I really appreciate what you're doing. I don't have a lot of personal stories with it, but just seeing people come to our table and saying, I have struggles from that, and I know that they haven't really overcome it, because that's why they're coming to talk to us. And we just try to encourage them to walk with the Lord and try to grow and then really just try to pursue the opportunities that God provides to them.
I maybe a different perspective, because I haven't worked closely in a prison ministry, but one of the things that I would say for me in thinking about the stereotypes and all those prejudices and so forth, my concept is in the church we're comfortable with going into the prison to do ministry mm-hmm. there. Mm-hmm. But the concept of when they get out, we're guarded. Mm-hmm. And the fear element is The fear element, I think, is because we don't humanize these men and women.
True.
We start thinking they are this hardened criminal who's coming after my family. So we put up these barriers. And I'll just speak for myself. I mean, there's certain stereotypes that I would have if I had someone who was incarcerated move in 2 doors down from me. It would make me more aware, right, wrong, or indifferent, just make me more aware of certain things. And maybe not bring a personal human element to that. And until I do that in relationship with them, I would be one of those people that would be just guarded. Like, well, I got to watch this, got to watch that, just because of the unknown. And I'm not saying that's right.
Yeah.
Just being kind of
and that's
real.
being truthful. I know Chuck Colson, remember Chuck Colson, he spent time in prison, and he said even coming back into the clergy, there were the naysayers who, oh, that's just prison ministry. But we know that, the New Testament, Paul wrote 3/4 of the New Testament while he was in prison.
Sure.
And people will look upon you and want to cast those aspersions upon you when they see you coming out of prison. Final word, Sean.
Mark, I just want to ask you, you said about being in the Blair County Prison. You want to share any other opportunities here in the Altoona area?
Yeah, so we're going to have an opportunity at Christmas for local churches to help us bless the kids who have a parent incarcerated. Kids who have a parent incarcerated are 6 times more likely to end up there someday themselves.
Wow.
And so at Christmas, we have a kids party where we gather gifts and we play games, we give them gifts, we read the Christmas story. We want them to know they're loved, right? We want them to know they're appreciated. So we're doing that. We're looking to expand our ministry. We're licensed with Department of Drug and Alcohol program to have a sober living house in Bellefonte, and that's for women. And we're looking for an opportunity to do that over here. We have a waiting list a mile long. There are men and women sitting in jail right now who could come home if they had a place to go. And so we want to provide that opportunity with the sober living house here somewhere in Blair County. There's a definite need for it. So.
Absolutely. Mark, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you. It's been very informative.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us here on Man Up Today. Tune in next time. We'll look forward to seeing you.
When it's time for a new roof, Champion Roofing is your best choice. We're a certified award-winning roofing contractor, meaning your roof is done right the first time. Call today.
Champion Roofing, we're the solution.
Next time on Man Up, we're going to talk to my friend John on the topic of human trafficking.
Kavod is an organization that we do ministry from tip of the spear to the end of the spear, meaning that we will go into dark places and be a light in very dark places regarding human trafficking. Over 240 rescues of women and children. We've helped 6 different countries arrest over 60 traffickers.
All that and more next time on Man Up.